Inner conflict causes all outer conflict. But when we resolve inner conflict, outer conflict dissolves, and solutions to life's challenges intuitively appear. Inner conflict causes all outer conflict. But when we resolve inner conflict, when we resolve our own inner conflict, take those logs out of our own eyes, outer conflict dissolves, and solutions to life's challenges intuitively appear. So if and when we choose to resolve inner conflict in our own life, within the unique constellation of relationships that each of us has, being present in the moment and just observing, looking to unite the two worlds, inner and outer, in thought, word, and deed. When we make that decision, that choice, to turn our lives into a laboratory for experimenting with our own inner conflict, just to see what happens. No judgments, no hopes. Thousands of women and men before us are speaking to us and saying, this has worked for us. This has worked for us. Test it and see if it works for you. And so we come together once a week in meditation, but every day we're in meditation. And how does that benefit us? What does that have to do with this thought? And the answer is everything. Everything. See, meditation trains the mind. Yes, we know that meditation can lead to enlightenment, we hear. Well, what's enlightenment? What's enlightenment? The only definitions that we can come up with before we actually start meditating about enlightenment are just our imagination, or the imagination of the culture. But just as if when we conclude our meditation and we open our eyes from the darkness and the light appears, then the darkness is no more. The appearance of light obliterates the darkness. And in the presence of the light, we can see things that we couldn't see in the darkness. So meditation trains our mind to do just that. It's called meditation in action. Not just when we sit once a week, once a day, twice a day. That's good. But we're complex animals. We have lots of different kinds of relationships. We're busy people. We're householders. Most of the day is spent in other kinds of relationships, where meditation in action is the key. So with our daily meditation, the meditation process itself even learning how to deal with distracting thoughts, recognizing them as not bad, not a problem, just a habit of the mind, chewing up our energy. When we meditate, we then develop these tools, these skills, like one-pointed attention, which ultimately facilitates the coordination of the four functions of the mind. Without one-pointed attention, without the one-pointed attention that we gain in meditation, that skill, that tool, the ego, the senses, the unconscious mind remain addicted to create all sorts of noise in the mind. We know that's true. Oh, I can't meditate. I have all these thoughts. Well, of course you have all these thoughts. Of course we have all these thoughts. Because the ego, senses, and unconscious mind is not interested in one-pointed attention, interested in what appears to be pleasant to them or painful to them. Pleasure because they want to reprise it, pain because they want to fix it, even though you have decided right now it's for our highest good to meditate. They don't share that. So they like to, and they become addicted to creating all sorts of noise because they cannot make a decision. They're only advisors. So they lobby, and they lobby, and they're pushy, and they're insistent. And all this noise retards the capacity of the conscience to reflect superconscious wisdom. So the conscience has no other choice in such an instance. It just rubber stamps the loudest voice that it can hear. That's why we think the same things all the time. That's why these same thoughts keep on coming into our awareness. Mm-hmm. And those thoughts, of course, lead to actions and then consequences. So we remain stuck. But true one-pointed attention automatically creates a space between stimulus and response for us. And this sends a message. We're serious. Dear ego, dear senses, dear unconscious mind, we're serious about this meditation. And the more that we train the mind in a one-pointed manner, it calms down the ego, the senses, and the unconscious mind. It creates a space between stimulus and response. And in that space between stimulus and response, we gain freedom. Freedom of choice. Not hypothetically free, as most human beings believe they are, but truly free to choose, regardless of the situation. And so we choose to listen to the conscience, which recognizes distracting thoughts in meditation as just some ego or sense gratification. We know that as praya. So we honor it, we witness it, we sacrifice it, we offer it back, so that our outer actions are no longer in conflict with inner wisdom, they are aligned with inner wisdom. Outer and inner are one. So in that space, we are free to listen to the conscious so that we can know the thoughts to think, the words to speak, and the actions to take. Now, in this moment, in the midst of this relationship in which I find myself. And because I have been dealing 24/7 with serving inner wisdom and sacrificing conflicts with inner wisdom, I have already built up my willpower to do what's to be done and not to do what's not to be done. So when I hear the voice of the conscience, I employ the muscles of my willpower. To encourage the ego, the senses, and the unconscious mind to coordinate themselves with the superconscious wisdom from the superconscious portion of the mind that the conscience is now capable of reflecting into our conscious mind. So it's very practical, this meditation that we do. Yes, it's relaxing. It gives us a wonderful feeling. But it's down to earth. It provides us these tools: one-pointed attention, detachment, non-attachment. That space between stimulus and response gives us the freedom to discriminate between passing pleasure and perennial joy. And it builds the muscles of willpower. We become a skillful, peaceful warrior, ready and able and willing to engage in whatever battle with the darkness that karma presents to us. So with those skills, we realize that inner conflict, our inner conflict, causes all the outer conflict. But when we resolve the inner conflict, outer conflict dissolves. And solutions to life's challenges intuitively appear. That's my experience. Is that your experience? I'm sure for the vast majority of you, the answer is yes. I'm sure you're engaged in this process of letting go the obstacles of darkness that are in your own mind, and you today can see more of the true reality rather than the appearance of what is in front of you, that the ego, senses, and unconscious mind rely on. Just looking at the front, never considering that there's a back. But you do that now already. You begin to see things as they are, not as they appear. You're no longer an inhabitant of Plato's cave. You don't believe that the truth is the shadow on the wall of that cave that Plato used as a teaching tool. Inner conflict causes all outer conflict. But when we resolve, we employ our sankalpa. I want to do it, I can do it, I have to do it, I'm going to do it, I'm going to resolve inner conflict, then outer conflict dissolves. And solutions to life's challenges intuitively appear.